Welcome to Buying Local. Welcome everyone to Buying Local. I'm Mike Nelson from Five Towers Media here with Jared Humiston from Adirondack. So I was thinking about this on the way over. Are you still Adirondack Technical Solutions, or are you just ADKtechs, or do you kind of run both?
That's the legal name.
That's the legal name. Okay, yeah, I did.
We shortened it down to ADKtechs just because, 20 years ago we started the business. We did realize that when you answer the phone, thank you for calling Adirondack Technical Solutions. Yes, that's a.
I think everybody says ADKtechs at this point.
We've been branded as ADKtechs for better part of
Years.
10, 12 years now. So maybe even longer.
Yeah, it's wow, 20 years, man. You said that to me the other day when I bumped into you here. By the way, we're at Jared's new location over by exit 17 off the highway. I don't know. Are you next to Stinky's Coffee, or is Stinky Coffee next to you?
We moved in separate, so I guess we're next.
You're next to Stinky's? Okay. Well, we're next to Stinky's Coffee. If you haven't checked out Stinky's, go ahead. I'm having one of their lattes as we speak here. But you said that when I bumped into you at 20 years.
Yep, 21. Now we're starting our 21st year, so we completed 20, entering 21.
That's wild. How time flies.
It does.
We're old men now.
We are the grand pro.
We call those wisdom highlights, Jared. Wisdom highlights. So you said that, and I was like, oh my God, we gotta talk, because I want to hear about the last 20 years. Your business has changed, obviously, for the better. It's only gotten better the last 20 years. So many people don't even make it 5 years. That's a big milestone for a lot of businesses, let alone making it 20. So I'm not even sure where to begin, but let's start with, how did you end up starting the ADKtechs 20 years ago?
Well, I guess it started with just like watching the way the industry was. When I first started out, I think like IT was not really customer centric, right? It was more of like, you had to have it, right? That was, as you get to the late 90s, early 2000s, as technology was emerging. That was where it was just starting to kind of be looked at as like something to enhance your business. Mm-hmm. There were still paper processes in place, and then you just made some efficiencies with computers. And so I guess it came from going from the big mainframes, and now that was going into personal computers and servers in every office. And, you kind of go through these cycles, right? And you're now headed through another one of these cycles where you went from big mainframe, personal computers, then the servers kind of hybrid that. Now we're going back to the mainframes out in the cloud. Now you go to big super data centers. And then you're going back to individual devices that access stuff in the cloud. So it's just kind of going back and forth, but it's been, where we started was, kind of fell in that niche. A lot of project-based work, get setting up desktops, running cable, building kind of like a private cloud, right? We were putting a server in every business. We were installing an Exchange server. We were figuring that to connect to their cell phones. The cell phones were emerging. People had their websites hosted in their, website.
On their own server.
Yeah, their own server.
Yeah.
So, we used to have a client makeup of all these little clouds inside of their, inside of their networks. We had to protect them all. Mm-hmm. As things changed, right? The pace of the world picked up. Everybody wants everything now. Want to be agile as a business, want to be able to do business from everywhere. That kind of model became, a little bit more expensive, right? So you're still having to maintain all these servers, had to grow different servers for security reasons. So you had to start parsing off, servers for different roles. And then that, like I said, that became taking up real estate inside of the business. It's consuming a lot of power.
Everybody had those old server rooms, right? Yeah. In their office with all the racks and stuff.
Yeah. And so, but then the attacks started going against the business. And so that's really cloud computing comes in, where you get to kind of offload some of those things. You're still susceptible to those same, attacks and things like that. But now you have different tools that can protect them. You don't have a whole separate, area in your office up for this anymore. Mm-hmm. Smaller footprint, maximizing what you have, and also making it more agile, right? Where power out goes in this building, we can all go work from home. We can go work anywhere. We have cell phones. We can work from cell phones. So we don't really have to, we're more agile. We're, more functional. We're cheaper. It's able to, deliver the same results for a smaller cost.
For a lot, yeah. It's wild. You know, it's funny too, because weirdly, I watched the original Tron movie. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie or not. Oh my God. So I watched the original Tron movie last night, and I was laughing about, like, you look at that movie that was on the maybe late 70s, early 80s, compared to what the movies are today, and just how much technology has changed.
Right.
It is so what? It is so wow.
Yeah, it's a well, as you said earlier, I guess we're old men now. Some of the science fiction stuff is, you watch Star Trek, they're
Wow.
flipping that open, they're talking to it, it's like everybody's literally holding the phone to their head, talking to everybody throughout the world,
Yeah.
changing messages, very quick. So, we become so old that science fiction is now real.
Is now the reality. Yeah. Now information on demand and people on demand. Right. So everybody's accessible instantly these days. It is absolutely wild. So you kind of got into a little bit about how your business model has changed over time, and we were chatting about it before we officially started the episode. But um, I, one of the things that businesses struggle with is the pivot, right? The changes that you have to make to stay ahead of your industry and be on top of things, and the people that don't pivot over time end up getting left behind and going out of business, right? So obviously technology is changing at an ever increasing rate. You've had to keep up with this over time and kind of stay at the front side of that wave. How does it look like? How do you do that as a business, right? Like if you're going to tell someone like, hey, this is what you got to do to stay ahead of your industry. Like, what do you do? How do you do it? Especially your industry that moves so fast.
Well, human beings inherently don't like change, right? We've kind of learned that in this industry, right? Yeah, we thrive on it because we like technology, we like change, we like when a new iOS comes out, we love that. When a new product comes out, new server, new cloud service, new hardware, whatever it is, we like that. But for the most part, business like standards, right? So one of the ways that we've pivoted and that we went from kind of like I wouldn't even really call it organized chaos. Like the old way of doing IT was like generally it was like a fire drill. Oh, this person needs that over here. Let me send 3 people over there and just take care of that. Meanwhile, 3 other fires start, and then you just rush 3 other resources back in that other direction. Yeah. And like that is exhausting. It's exhausting for your team that's providing the support. It's exhausting for your customers just to kind of like just feel like you're just constantly just stopping off fires, and then you're going over the next one, and the one just pops up over there. And it was just chaos. And so where we pivoted was to standardize, right? The old IT models, and we still even see it today. And I don't know how some people still like those environments, but it's like, the a la carte, like, oh, we're going to do, here's the 10 services that you offer. I want this, I want 5 of them. And so that creates a dilemma of like, okay, well, they didn't want this, EDR, protection against malware or against ransomware. They don't want that. So what do we do when they get ransomware? Do we just let it burn? Go, and so that creates all this communication and this non-standard way of reacting, because it's like I have these 14 different contract types. And so 4 or 5 years ago, we just said, we can't do that. Like we can't allow people to choose their protections. And that's maybe a crude way, or maybe a over direct way of saying it. Like we can't allow anyone to choose that, but you're you're getting, you know, you're getting to where you're not 100% sure what that protection actually is. So we just created a program that's just like, hey, from A to Z, this is just what we're going to do. We're going to just cover your desktop installations. We're going to cover the way that you monitor cybersecurity. We're going to, cover your employee training for cybersecurity to, train the human firewall. We're going, all these things are going here, your risk assessments, your vulnerability assessments. We're going to do this right up to this point. Then we're going to ask you to have a pen test that trusts and verifies what we do for you, that shows the program is in place, that's being effective.
So pen test means penetration test.
Yes.
So that's essentially where you purposely try to break the systems to see where the vulnerabilities are.
Yep. You'll have a third party service come through and just say, okay, we're gonna test. We're gonna see if you bend. Hopefully you don't break. If there are instances that we break, hey, is this a vendor specific vulnerability that's not patched yet? Okay, that's great. We know about that. We know it's a weakness, but what's the controls that we put in place to monitor it, minimize its, its ability to affect our business. So we put in that full program, and there's no more like it's IT of yesterday is here's block hours, and we're going to wait till you have a problem.
That break and fix.
Give us a call when your company is running inefficiently. And to me, that's never really made sense. And we've strived to like kind of get to this point of like where we're proactive instead of reactive.
Yep.
And where we want to, where we're taking things is where we're going to sit down, we want to sit down and, do tabletop exercises where we're like, okay, you just got ransomware, you're a payroll company. What happens? And then we just sit back and we let their leadership team discuss that. Say, well, it sounds like you're missing, some of this in your incident response plan. It sounds like you're missing some of this. What is your return to business? Like how, if you had ransomware and your systems were unavailable for 48 hours, what does that look like to you? Okay, you need to be back in business in 24 hours. Here's what that cost is. Do you have the business model that supports that type of profitability that gives you that return to business, technology, right? Can you restore this back? So they're all, because you get some people say, oh, all my stuff is backed up in the cloud. Okay, great. What happens when you need to restore it? How fast is your internet connection? You have 50 meg connection, but you got 3 terabytes worth of data that needs to be restored down. And when you start to do that test restore, it says, oh, it'll be restored in 36 hours.
Can you explain for our listeners, explain what ransomware is? Because it is scary.
Yep.
And I know that a lot of people do, but I also have to assume there's people that don't know what ransomware is. So just explain that to me.
Yeah. So ransomware is where they, execute malicious code onto a system or systems within your, your environment, and that it will encrypt the data with an encryption key that they only have reversible, in which then they'll make a demand to you. So hence the ransomware. They say, hey, you give us, 5 Bitcoin or 1,000 Bitcoin. And if you give us that, we'll give you your data back. And so
they're holding your stuff hostage.
They're holding you hostage until you do that. If you have good backups and you have good wallback procedures and things like that. If you have good technology on your endpoints, you can usually just roll that stuff right back in a few minutes, restore your data, do all that good stuff. If you have the right, protections and programs in place. If you want the a la carte, model, you're kind of just spinning the chamber.
It's going to get expensive.
Yeah. And then, so you never want to be in the spot. And we've even heard this for a lot. I have cyber insurance. Okay, so do you want to go through where you have to make a cyber claim and just say, okay, well, at least I'm covered for the $2 million worth of data I just lost that you just built over, 20 years. That's a difficult position to be in. So you don't really your cyber insurance should be break this glass here in case of emergency, right? That should be, we're hoping that we can take care of that fire before it's
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah. It is wild. And it's funny too, because I don't know, I probably get 10 different newsletters in my inbox every morning with different industry stuff. And every single one of them always has something about somebody who has gotten hacked, had a ransomware, a malware, like all this DDoS attacks, like all this different stuff that's out there. It is such a scary world in the digital environment.
Yeah, we just did a Facebook and LinkedIn post about, international conflicts, right? Obviously, everybody's aware of, the conflicts that are going on right now. And then you just see, 3 days later, as we put this out, we've been doing this quite a while. We know the trends. That goes over. Then you have, pro-Iranian company I shouldn't say a company, but,
A group.
hacktivists. They're hacktivists, right? So they targeted a major U.S. medical company and launched ransomware, denial of service attacks, and targeted to cause harm. They didn't even really. They took over some endpoints and just deleted data. This was more of a malicious attack. So some of your hacktivists will do the ransomware, make some money out of it. Some just go in there, capture a flag, just say, hey, that we did it. And others are looking to be malicious and they're just deleting data and just saying, hey, we captured the backups. We got the data as well. We're just going to be malicious.
We're burning your stuff to the ground.
So that's your unintended consequences of, the international conflicts. And sometimes it doesn't even involve our own country. It's just that we're a wealthy nation, and so you are a target for ransomware. And if you make that ransom low enough and you're like, hey, well, for $10,000, I can just be done with this. That's $3 million worth of data. I'll pay the $10,000. And some of those groups are very nice. They give you the encryption key. They give you the encryption key. And then and that's the purpose of having a program like this in place, so that you have the resources in place to properly handle ransom. You don't just give them full $10,000. If you were in that unfortunate state that you had to pay the ransom, you would say, okay, we're going to give you $2,500. Now you show us that you actually have our data. And you could ask for proof of that. And maybe hopefully do that before you get the $2,500. But show a proof. And they usually do. They're generally very nice. They'll leave a nice text file behind that says that we have this data, and here's the data that we have. And sometimes they leave a little folder with the data that they've captured and uploaded. Other times they just tell you, and then they can show you, and then you say, okay, now give us all this, and then they'll do that. And then you got to hire lawyers, you got to hire people that specialize in that. And that's where your cyber insurance comes in to handle all that expensive stuff. But then most of the time, if you're a big enough organization or you're kind of a mid-sized organization, you might have the proper coverage for this. So that's where going through the exercises and going through the stuff that we talk about.
Yeah.
Comes up.
Tell me, it's almost becoming cliche right now to talk about AI in every single business conversation, but it's in every single business conversation. And I'm very curious how everyone is reacting or responding to AI and how it's using it, and afraid of it, love it, implementing it. Do you guys see AI impacting your industry, and are you making pivots because of the AI and what it's offering and doing?
So AI is still learning, right? And so it's obviously like one of the biggest things. Like every time you scroll through Facebook, you see all these ads. AI is going to create more jobs, or is going to create more millionaires in the next 6 months than the last 20 years has. Blah blah blah. Some truth to that, some overzealous marketing to that as well. But AI is not something to be feared. It's not something to be running into either. It's something to be respected, right? And so, like from a cyber perspective that we look at, we talk to a lot of our customers about, hey, make sure you have like an AI policy in place first. Because like right now, people are, businesses right now. So you're familiar with the term like shadow IT?
Yep.
And where people would, bring in technology into your business and connect them to your, network, and they could be, creating threats. Shadow AI is that same type of thing. Or, so right now you're getting where people are like, you know what, I'm going to make my job easier. I'm going to take this financial spreadsheet here. I'm going to drop it into Chat GPT, and I'm going to have it do my monthly calculations for me. And I'm going to turn that into my boss in record time. You just taught AI what your P&L statement looks like. And if you're not in a paid subscription with the confidentiality and things like that, that data has been learned. That data can be disseminated, and searched.
Yeah, it can be uploaded into the chat engine.
It's learned.
It's why.
Yep. And so you're saying, businesses should standardize on AI workflow. Just like, when we talk about, we standardize on the computers that we put in place, the firewalls that we use, the cyber, training materials that we use, everything's standardized. Businesses should be looking to standardize their AI practices and what they're using, what engines they're using it for. If that data is being, protected, if it's, vulnerable, because now, the hackers are using AI to learn about businesses and all the information that is in the engines at record speed.
Yeah.
Right. So whatever you're feeding into the machine, it's learning, and it's, can be parsed, or can be searched and can be used. And so
used against you for that.
Used against you.
Yeah.
And so you got to be careful what you're teaching, and you got to make sure that you have, closed subscriptions that are to your business. And then everybody looks at it, and you're going right back to where we were, 10 years ago in IT, when someone's like, well, I don't want to buy a Copilot license for $35 per user per month. Okay. Use the free versions and just put all your information out there. Right. Let somebody search it, and then take $300,000 a year because they, learned everything about your business. And you see it on social media. What was the latest thing that they just had, where they had the character created, and it would show like, your diploma, to show what you do for a living, then it'd show your dog there, what kind of dog you have. So that picture was worth 1,000 words. Everybody's went through, created that, and they're like, those trends are created to garner information about you. So it could be socially engineered.
Now they know your daughter's name. They know where you went to college. They got me your birthday.
Know your profession, your
Yeah, it's like those social media posts where it's like 10 questions, right? Like, what's your favorite color? What are all those different things.
Or security questions when you log into your bank.
Yeah.
Where did you meet your spouse? Oh, that's right in there. I was like, you put it. So your secret questions is a social media trend, and people don't realize it.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. The AI stuff. That's just, hey, show me your AI character. Oh, I guess everybody else is doing it. That's being done for a reason.
It is wild.
And so, yeah.
I know I've been reading a lot about Claude bots and like AI agentic, basically AI agents that people are putting on their laptop to do all, and you can basically get full autonomy, and it's like sending emails, like you're doing all this different stuff, and it's like,
yeah, that to me right now at the stage that it's at is wild. Because so like I said, I'd be lying if I said I don't use AI. We use it. We use it a lot. We use it a lot. But that's foundational stuff. In my opinion, technology should enhance your given abilities, right? And AI is really good for creating the foundation of what you're trying to create. You still, we still would like to see people, retain their creativity, right?
yeah,
Use the AI to speed up that creativity.
absolutely.
Embrace that, right? Use that to create a better product, a better endpoint to shorten the time frame that it takes you to get to a business outcome, right? And that's what we're really, trying to help our customers with is like, let's not be scared of it. Let's use it responsibly. Yeah. And then let's use it not to, limit your team's natural given abilities and creativity. And, AI I would use very quickly for a lot of, customer things. I will feed data. We have a private closed, Copilot subscription that is based to our Microsoft tenancy. It is not publicly accessible. And we were used up there where we'll feed in some analytics and say, okay, we need these reports for these meetings and stuff like that. We build that. We still have to review it. AI is still being taught by us. All you do, it gets more accurate every time we do this. And it does help, put together and help us see trends quicker.
Yeah.
It does help us see network events quicker. So it is very, very good, but we've also done this very responsibly over the last, 12 to 18 months. It's not something we just say, hey, just start taking these, we start throwing it in there and hey, do our job for us. Cause then that becomes where we're hands off and then we're not driving any value. Yeah. And so you still want the human to interpret and say, hey, these are some things that we need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree fully. I mean, I can easily say that I spend 4 or 5 hours a day using AI for different activities in our business. And there's not a single conversation I have. I primarily use Claude. And there's not a single conversation that I have with Claude where I'm looking at what Claude is giving me and I have to say, hey, that doesn't seem right to me. Can you please cross-reference that against these other things? And it comes back, oh, you're right. I missed this. They all make mistakes. So it certainly is not,
yes,
without error.
For AI to be its most effective, you have to train and you have to correct it. Then you have to make sure that what you're putting in isn't given, especially from a business perspective. If you're an inexperienced business owner and you're letting AI give you projections, there might be some things that AI hasn't learned yet.
Yes.
Same thing with cybersecurity. Like, I see all these things where it's like, oh, we have a cyber, engine in the background. It's like, yeah, but you should still have someone really smart looking over that. You should still, have a human being that has 20 years of experience. Because AI doesn't have 20 years of experience yet.
That's right.
Now, the beauty of AI is that you have a lot of people feeding information. So it can close that gap pretty quick. And they'll get there, with enhancing its accuracies. And it's what it is, artificial for a reason.
Yeah. Well, that's like with the new workflow automation stuff that we're doing. AI is helping us with solution design to get there a lot faster. However, we still need to have our software engineer reviewing that solution to make sure that it is accurate and is not like, on a couple of instances, we're getting back a solution design and so horribly complicated and has bits and parts and things that's like, that doesn't even be in there. And so we can remove that whole thing from this. And if you're just trusting AI fully with what it's giving you and then just acting on it, you might be making some bad decisions.
Yeah, we have a full-time position that's all they do.
Oh, okay.
So anything that goes into our cyber engines, anything that goes through our security operations center, any of those alerts, that is still looked at by person.
By human.
Yes.
Looking for those errors.
Because one thing that AI is not really good at detecting at times is some of the false positives.
Yeah.
Now, as we train that, it's better, but because some of these, some of these engines you look for impossible travel, right? And impossible travel is essentially, can I log in from multiple places within a certain amount of time, and that be a valid login?
Mm-hmm.
Now, so if you're logging in from New York, New Jersey, and Miami, Florida, 3 times in 18 minutes, that's impossible travel, right?
Yeah.
There isn't anything known to, a man that can get you from New York and New Jersey to Miami in 18 minutes.
Yeah. Well, we have that too. We had multiple team members that have to log in the systems.
Yes.
And they're like, let's just say it's a Google email address.
Yes.
And I've got 4 different people that are logging into that email address for different reasons. And they're all a good distance, like impossible. You would not be able to cover that distance in the 2 minutes difference, right?
So those are what we either call white noise or false positives. And then so that person will say, hey, these events right here, those are, we have customers that when they access data on their mobile device, they use an anonymizer or use, VPN technologies. And it's like, well, okay, well, you're using an anonymizer that's showing you're coming from an IP address in London. And that's an impossible travel. So we have to, start curbing people's behaviors and even accessibility. We've brought that to a lot of customers.
Mm-hmm.
You want these people to have access to this is when they're accessing their data. So on one hand, you have AI, tools that are analyzing all the event logs, which is very good, right? That's very tough for humans to go through and look across your customer base and say, hey, these people are logging in over here and send them alerts. So that's the good part of AI. Bad part there is it's not smart enough to know in times if that's that's an anonymizer.
Yeah.
That's not really impossible travel that's coming from here. So we tune that. And how many files they delete. We message for or we monitor for mass file deletion, mass file uploads, because that shows criminal, potential, criminal activity, right? We're taking data. However, people have their phones linked to their OneDrive. If you're an engineering company or you're a construction company, you might be taking pictures of a house that you just finished, and AI is more, oh, there was just all these files just uploaded. Well, you just took 30 pictures of a house that you're going to sell or you're going to put on your website for marketing. So AI, good, told us that there's a mass file upload. Wasn't smart enough to know that they're a construction company.
Yeah.
So train those behaviors. We, do that. That's how currently you should be handling your approach to AI.
It's every day I piss and moan about having this 2-factor authentication stuff pop up on my phone because my team is accessing something. I'm going to stop pissing and moaning about it now that you've told me about the impossible travel. I thought it was just the system being a pain in my ass, not realizing that what it's actually doing is saying like, hey, you've got to log in Clifton Park, a login in Schenectady, a login in Queensbury, a login in Boston Spa, Greenfield, like it's all these different geographies around the area, and it's actually flagging that. I never knew that.
Yeah, even MFA could be defeated, right?
Yeah.
You get a session token, you can get in between that, and you have limited time to log in. But if that does happen, that's still going to tell you that, like, hey, if that person is monitoring, because of malicious, code that's on your, and then they're going to launch it from, play a data center that they have in, Los Angeles. That's going to log that at possible travel. So you still have that looking for them, the ITDR, right? So you're able to look at all these events going across multiple platforms. So right now, our monitoring, we look at, not only email, cloud, and the endpoint, so that all those events are correlated. So it's called SIEMs, system identity alerts and management, right? So it'll look through all these systems, all these alerts across firewalls, across across desktops, across your cloud platform. It'll take all those events, correlate them, and say something doesn't add up here. And then that also keeps timestamps, right? If you have an event and you have to provide forensics in your type of industry, we have the timestamps that go across where all this stuff happened, how it happened, so you know the who, what, when, where, why, how of that. So that should save you some money on your forensics, of those types of events.
Yeah.
So AI is good in those aspects. It can do all those things now very cheaply versus, back in the days working with the banks, we used to have to train, same solutions for months, if not for years. Going through logs manually. Now AI is doing that on the fly.
In minutes.
Right. And alerting you. It's parsing white noise from these are actionable activities that need human interaction.
Yeah.
And then you go through and
so it's like any tool, right? Like a hammer. You can build a house with a hammer. You can also hit somebody over the head with it, right? Like so.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So it can be, productive or constructive.
Yeah.
Or destructive.
Yeah.
So.
So I know we're getting short on time, but I do want to spend a couple minutes talking about this amazing new office that you're in.
Yeah.
Right. This place is really cool. Beautiful, fun. Obviously you got a coffee shop next door, so that helps with productivity. But tell me about the new location and about what the new location is doing for you as a business.
Yeah, I mean, so the dream of this business has never been about making money. It's always been about people and outcomes. I generally I like helping people. Right. Skill set I had was technology. I used to love going in and fixing problems that people couldn't figure out. Right. I love the needle in the haystack and finding that and getting the bottom of it. And we existed in Washington County for a long, long time. Where I grew up, I'm a third generation, raising a fourth generation there. And always wanted to do it there. I've always had my eye on this building. I've inquired about it a number of times over the years, and I wanted to build a corporate headquarters in Washington County, and it's just on the card right now. We don't have the infrastructure to do the things that we need to do to make that dream a reality. So I said when I was talking to somebody else, I said sometimes you get to, create the dream, and sometimes you get to join somebody's dream. So when Brian and Ben, I saw their article, and saw them, say, hey, the place has been bought, and they're going through. Stopped out here, talked to them, and went through, kind of, walked through the building with Brian. And Brian, he does most of the, he's more part of the creative process around here. I still know the building. So he and I walked through. We started exchanging some ideas, and we're going, yeah, you could do this, you could do that, you could do this, and we were like, this is the time. We've looked at everything as it goes. This is more central to our customers. This is puts us 15 minutes closer to 300,000 people, and to our talent pool. It's bigger.
Yeah.
Will put us up to a nice short drive to Clifton Park area, Albany area. Shorter, drives to our customers. So from a business perspective, that works well.
Yeah.
Right. The dream that we wanted to create was a mixed use building where we had other businesses that would be synergetic to our employees and create a good environment for them. And this place created that, right? Having Stinky's coffee next door and having, you can get your haircuts here. You can, and then there's some other stuff. I guess Brian probably would want me to, some other things that are coming in here. I'll leave that. Can't talk about it. Can't talk about that. But they're just, it's good culture based off. And as you asked earlier, like, what have we been doing to this business as we pivoted, right? So in that discussion, we kind of just talked about the customer outcome basing that we did. But one of the other things that we've addressed as a company in the last 3 or 4 years, 5 years, is culture. Culture is one of the most important things to successful client outcomes. Our employee retention is, right now we only have one person on the staff that's been here less than a year. And I think that'll be up in like 10 days.
Yeah.
Everybody else has been here for 3, 4, 5 years, 6 years. And that's familiar faces for our customers. That's good tribal knowledge. We know where everything is in our customers. But that speaks a lot to the culture that we've created here, where we're looking for great human beings first, and we'll train the skills. We will use our tools to enhance their skills. We will train them. We will get them better. This allows us to do that, right? This gives our team more, food choices, closer to, get your car wash right next door, gas is right across the street. Time is a form of currency. And that dream was to do that, was to provide an experience for our team to just, hey, during my lunch break, I'm gonna go get my hair cut. And I don't have to do that after work. I could go spend more time with my kids. I could get to the ball game quicker. I could, grab food right here. I can have food DoorDash here. I can have Instacart right here. Put it in my car, drive home, grab little Timmy, grab little Jane, right? And time is a form of currency now. People want everything yesterday. This puts us closer to our customers so we can serve them faster. This puts us into a more centralized location for our team to have a better experience, for them to get here quicker, um, and get to some ancillary things that they want a little quicker. So Ben and Brian, I can't tip the hats to them. They did a great job.
Amazing job.
They were very accommodating to if you ask Brian, he might not have. No, we got along well, but I'll say, but we hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Oh, the ceiling, I want to. They did a perfect job of accommodating this and making sure that we're going to be successful here and that everybody's going to love the space. And the team loves the space. And we've had so much traffic coming into this building from people going into Stinkies. And these guys have been great. The salon next door was, they're great people. The barbershop down the way, they're great people.
Yeah.
So that's been awesome. And we really love the space and we love the exposure. So we could be happier with the decision. Even though there was some reservations of leaving the hometown and the home county, but I think from a business perspective, it was right.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, it's an amazing location, and again, car count out there. I mean, there's got to be thousands of cars go down that road every day.
I think the traffic study they did was 32,000.
32,000 a day. Holy moly! I mean, this whole corridor has become really busy and happening.
Well, and that's what you talk about, right? From an economic standpoint, economic development standpoint, right? They built the sewer and water down through here a few years ago, and now you're starting to see all the new buildings pop up, and it's just that's just something that was really the determining factor for us. And like I said, we've looked at this building for 10 years, and when you see what the job that they were doing, well, they're like, we need to be here. And like I said, done a great job, and we're looking forward to the last set of tenancies get built out here and adding even more value to our team and to this to this community that's really welcomed us. So it's the local chambers have been really accommodating, and we're really welcoming to our new move. So that's been great as well. So
and plans for Fitzgerald Brothers here for St. Patrick's Day on Tuesday. I mean, it's stones throw down the road. We're corned beef.
Please,
Yeah.
definitely corned beef. With the corned beef again.
Those corned beef sandwiches are good. Well, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you got a lot going on, so taking an hour out to talk to us. Very
appreciate your time as well.
Absolutely. No, I'll tell you, I mean, we've known each other a long time, but watching your business and what it's done over the last 20 years is amazing and is pretty much every business owner's dream, as far as I'm aware. So, being able to grow and go and provide for families and people and team and community, and, it's what it's all about.
That's the main thing, right? Being able to, give back as much as you can, help. Like I said, I take a lot of pride in, making sure our team is taken care of and, and that we give everywhere that we absolutely can. So like I said, we've known each other for a long time. You've evolved to different. We all knew, yes, and that's the good thing about getting to be old men, right?
To look back at the road.
Yeah, we know the path, we know the struggle, and it's and your podcast is great. I've watched a lot of it online and then get to see you guys, have other people tell their story, right? Because it's amazing how many of us have been small business owners and have very different but very similar paths. And I think it's a very good educational piece that you guys do to say, hey, this is what the everyday American goes through every day. Business owner goes through when there's so much cannon fodder on the national news. You get a good local source there where you guys can go through and it's like, hey, I know you look at all this nonsense over here, but these are real people, really real things,
Absolutely.
real struggles, and they're still doing everything they can to help each other out and doing those things. I think if people get to focus more on this type of stuff, this type of content, the greater good of everybody and not red or blue type stuff, that's awesome. And so I've been glad to watch you guys, bring some real good quality content about real people doing real things with real struggles, with real results.
Yeah. I was just on with Jacques Equier the other day, and I was saying that I truly believe that if we all just focused on making our local communities great, if everybody did that, then every community would be great, and what a world we live in. Right? So I really believe
You're the news right off.
Yeah,
Focus on your level group and just,
that's it.
you know what I mean? And I'm not saying like national things aren't things to be worried about, but as what I'm saying for the most part, I mean, if you focus it on your circle and your,
Yeah.
helping your local people,
Yeah.
it seems like things are a lot brighter.
Help your neighbor, help
Yes.
your community, buy from local businesses, makes everybody
Less doom and gloom, more,
more uplifting.
right, up here downwards, so.
Love it. Thanks again.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you. Appreciate everybody, of course, for listening and watching. You can find all of our episodes at buyinglocal.us. Podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Rumble, and YouTube. Please like, subscribe, leave a 5-star review. We like those a lot. And thanks everybody for listening, and you'll hear from us next week.